Welcome to Mr. Wizard's Workshop, episode number 27. So the focus of this week's episode is productivity principles, more specifically, principle number one. So last week's episode, I stepped back and reviewed the big picture philosophy, key foundational elements of time and energy management and personal productivity. And I reviewed and discussed the four cultural trends that can suck your time, energy, and attention down a black hole if you don't take them into account. I'll post a link to that video in the description for this week's workshop if you'd like to go back and review that. So this week, I'm going to start describing and explaining the core principles of personal productivity. So there are 12 core principles. That's basically the mindsets, beliefs, paradigms, mental models, which can be the foundation you can use to build all of your specific productivity techniques, systems, and practices on. They're the framework that helps to ensure that you do have a solid foundation. So rather than just skimming over them, trying to introduce all or most of the 12 in one workshop, I'm going to go deep with each one and cover them one principle per episode. So the first principle is everyone can be incredibly productive. Another way to say it is you can be incredibly productive. Even if you're already very productive, good at getting the outcomes that you want, it is possible to take it up to a whole next level. So real brief housekeeping. Of course, live attendees, as usual, on mute, and you can always drop any questions or comments along as we go. And then when I wrap up the core presentation, review the Q&A and open up the floor for questions and discussion. So to recap the point, you can become even more incredibly productive. So to start this productivity leveling up process, you need to figure out the best context that you want to do that in. That is, identify where your talents are and then develop them into strengths. Use those talents in the real world, get experience with using your talents to create value in the real world. So when you combine the idea of every human being can be highly productive with the idea of developing our natural talents into strengths, which create value in the real world, the synergistic effect of combining those two ideas can be a real game changer. Another very important aspect of this principle that everyone can become incredibly productive is the effect of layering of productivity practices and techniques. So when you learn and put into practice one productivity approach, for example, removing distractions, which I spent a fair amount of time on in previous episodes, what the need to do it and then how to think about it, how to approach it. And then you add another layer, such as working in focused 60 to 90-minute blocks of time, i.e. calendar time block. And then you add another layer, such as intentionally planning and blocking out and scheduling 20 to 30-minute blocks of rest and recharge. That's calendar time blocking, your daily self-care and R&R. They work together to multiply the impact of each other. So layering of approaches significantly multiplies productivity. So in military science, there's a concept known as force multiplier. So it's a factor or combination of factors that gives personnel or weapons the ability to accomplish greater feats than without it. Simply put, a force multiplier is, in military terms, individual or small team that, through the use of special tactics, can do the damage of a much larger force. For example, a trained sniper with a quality sniper rifle and scope is a devastating force multiplier. In the world of Middle Earth, having a wizard on your team is a serious force multiplier. So layering of different productivity technologies is, in effect, a huge force multiplier. So one of the benefits which I promise my coaching clients is to double their productivity without them working more hours. So same hours, basically double productivity. So this might seem like a bold claim or even worse, marketing hype, but it's not at all. I know for a fact that I can at least double just about anyone's productivities, even if they are starting in a pretty good place. Now, I say just about because, Tony Robbins, Eben Pagan, I'm not ever going to actually be on a discovery call with them, but I'm not sure someone who's just really maxed out their game to that level, I could double their productivity. I'm sure I could offer a few tweaks, tips. But anyway, I'd say whatever, 99% of the folks out there, I'm confident that I can at least double their productivity. That's because I have a tool chest of productivity technology, practices, systems, techniques, approaches that I can teach my client, depending on where they are, which of them would benefit them the most. Now, there's a core set that I think almost everybody could benefit from. So I know from experience that the compounding effect of layering, the force multiplier, putting together multiple incremental things, will, over a few months, blow the roof off of their productivity. So principle number one, again, you can become amazingly productive one small step at a time. Another way to say it is, even if you think you are pretty solid right now, you can become even more productive. So the action item for this week is step back, visualize your even more productive and successful future self. So imagine what that feels like, how much you will accomplish each day, and visualize what that even higher level of accomplishment will mean to you. What will becoming super productive do for you? How will you feel when you take your success to the next level? So if you found this video useful, of course, you know what to do. Like, subscribe. Someone who would enjoy, benefit, please send them the link. And as usual, if you have any questions, if you're watching this recording after the live workshop, then please post the questions. I always respond. I always respond to posts. In the description of this week's recording, I'll post the link to last week's episode where I warned you about some of the dangerous cultural trends of our time. And I'll also post a link to register for this live workshop. So time for Q&A. So let me stop sharing. I'll open up the floor and see if we have any questions. Yay. So let's see a couple of comments. All right. It's a red letter day here in Mr. Wizard's workshop. I have 2 live participants at one time. Hello, Gina. Hello, Mark.
Hi, so exciting. Do you want me to
But did you have any questions, comments, anything you wanted to elaborate on or dive into more detail on?
The one thing that I wanted to say is that you do help people become more productive. I mean, I remember when I first started working with you, I think it's been over a year now. I didn't know how to make the shift from being an academic, where I was very productive and I had my own ways of doing things, right?
Yep.
To this entrepreneurship, which is just an endless block of emptiness, right? I mean, as an academic, there's certain things you have to accomplish each week. There's certain milestones you have to achieve. Mm-hmm. Like right now it's end of the term and I would be grading and, but once you become an entrepreneur, it's like,
there's no structure other than the structure that you apply for yourself. That's also true when you switch over from being an employee to being an entrepreneur. It's kind of the same challenge as before. Things were more structured, sometimes very structured, and now that you're your own boss, you have to apply that structure for yourself. Right.
And so, I mean, we both got similar training, and that's how we met. But it's one thing to hear somebody give you a talk about it, and it's another thing for somebody to help you work through it. So like the 3-month goals, the 1-month goals, the daily goals. I know that you're really into the one big thing and that kind of stuff. I was never, when I was on my own, I was never able to come up with doable goals. I'm actually feeling, very productive now.
And you're showing up productive. So, all right, I was going to check with Morris. So Morris, did you have any questions, comments, observations, anything you wanted to share with us?
Not feedback. Hi, Gina. Nice
Hello.
to meet you here virtually.
You look awfully cute. I love your black fur.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I don't always have my tongue out, so. All the comments that you've made, Gina, are spot on. I mean, like when I like how you said, setting our goals, are they practical or are they aspirational? I don't think many people are even aware of the difference. True. And I like that, Stephen, you're the accountability wizard, you're the productivity wizard, because the layers that you've described, when they come together, it does feel kind of like magic, because you can't really pinpoint exactly what made you so productive today. Like, why today were you in the flow? You had 4 hours and cranked out more than you did the entire last weekend working overtime. Like, it feels like magic, at least to me. Yeah, it's difficult to pinpoint, so I can relate to Gina's comments. My question, however, was at the very beginning in one of the earliest slides, you said leveraging your talents, right? Like, one of the layers is leveraging your talents, using your strengths in your work makes you more productive. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, and that's kind of the starting point for, it's a big picture idea. What's the context that you're going to increase your productivity in? And that is identifying and leveraging talents and strengths, getting experience in delivering with those talents and strengths, delivering actual value in the real world.
So my question is that related to, this idea of, or philosophy of follow your passion? Is that related to that or not?
I'd say not. I'm not that wild about the whole follow your passion thing. Cal Newport, and I did a blog post about it. He wrote basically a whole book about, screw following your passion. There's a different way to think about it, which is the craftsman mindset. So, the way I think about it is, okay, what are you good at? And obviously, what do you enjoy? Because I think most times what you are good at, you do enjoy. That will bring value to others in the real world.
Okay, understood. Thanks for elaborating.
And I do think that the layering incremental effect of putting these, multiple, not incredibly challenging or complicated, is a force multiplier. It's the sum is greater than the whole of the parts when you start stacking them together into one set of rituals and routines.
Kind of like compounding interest.
Exactly. It's a compounding effect. Well, thanks folks for joining. Like I said, it's a red letter day. It's the first time I had two people in one live session.
Well, thank you for the workshop, Stephen. Nice to meet you, Gina. Hope you both have a wonderful Sunday.
Nice meeting you, Morris, and nice being here with you, Steve. I have a momentous announcement on Monday, so
all right,
wait all that time.
Something to look forward to. You have a great rest of your day.
Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.